All right, guys, I am still buzzing after what we saw at UFC 314 in Miami as records were broken and a great champion regained his title. I have his head coach, Australian coaching legend, the man behind freestyle MMA, Alex Volkanovski, and so much more, Joe Lopez. Welcome to Submission Radio on the eve of an incredible victory in Miami. I got to ask you, dude, first questions first, how's it feel? You wake up with this feeling of knowing, all right, we got this done in Miami.
Yeah, well, we didn't get to wake up. We just kept going. Yeah, it was a big night. By the time we actually left because Alex had to get a few stitches and the media and everything. We didn't get out of there till after 4 a.m.
Damn, really?
No,
yeah,
sorry,
it's one of those
three. No, it was 3 a.m. Sorry, I lied. It was 3 a.m. By the time we got to the after party, it was actually 4. So, yeah, it was big.
Dude, a big week for the whole team. What was it like being able to have at least like a couple of beers and celebrate the big win once you guys did get to the after party? It would have been a fun experience.
Yeah, well, it didn't last long. I only stayed a couple of hours, just tired and a bit drawn out. But yeah, it was still good, and it was so crowded. Oh, there was just so many people there. But Miami turned it on, and it was good. Easy was there, all the boys were there, so yeah, we had a bit of fun, but not too late.
All right, well, let's talk about the fight, man. I want to first talk about the early rounds in this one. We saw Diego Lopez. He was trying to get in there. He was trying to get his distance, but Alex did so well. He kept him on the outside. He was able to establish his jab. He was able to reset every single time and didn't really let Diego have too much success. What was your reaction in those early rounds? And also, Diego Lopez, he was able to land a shot in that second round, but, Alex wore it well. Bounced back and then went straight back to that game plan.
Yeah. Well, look, Alex got Diego. He dropped him and took him down. And I don't know, after that first round, Diego channeled his inner Jose Aldo because, man, his hips were on fire. We couldn't get him back down, He did not want to go back down there, I think that, 30 seconds or whatever, Alex had him down there and put a few elbows and punches in on him. I don't think he wanted to go back down there.
Was the game plan to try to get him back down there, or was it to use that takedown threat as a way to keep Diego Lopez from being able to sort of get into his own zone and not know what's coming from Alex? Because I noticed that when Alex entered the pocket, he was able to use kind of like that shot to enter the pocket, throw some shots, but then he'd change that back into a shot and try to take Diego Lopez down. Was it trying to cover up him coming into the pocket and landing in the pocket before he comes back out using the shot?
Yeah, look, we wanted to take Diego down or get him against the fence because he is very dangerous. He's very explosive. And, man, you could see he's super tough, man. Oh, Alex put some big shots on him, and he wore them like, nothing,
Yeah, that's crazy.
Man, I was going, this guy's a zombie, man. Like, Alex is hitting him. And I know how hard he hits, And, Diego just took him, man, like a warrior.
What was your reaction when you saw Alex got the cut under his eye? Because obviously those cuts are never great, but the blood was going away from the eye, which was good. Usually it's a problem if it's going into the eye. But what was your reaction when you saw that?
Look, Alex he's been cut there a lot of times, and I think he's just got a lot of scar tissue there. So I don't think it takes much for him to open up underneath that eye. Yeah, he did that probably in his second or third fight. Again, it was a head clash, and it's usually from a head clash more than a punch. And I think it happened where I noticed it was that they got up against the fence, and there was a bit of movement. And when they came off the fence, I noticed Alex's eye was bleeding. So obviously, probably a little bit of a head clash there against the cage.
Yeah, Diego Lopez, notably does keep his head down a lot when he fights, so he might have accidentally come in there. There was also a moment where he threw out, it was either a jab, and it kind of glanced Alex's other eye, and Alex spoke about the fact that he lost vision in that eye there. Can you talk to me about your reaction when he gets to the corner and says, hey man, I can't really see that well? That would have been so stressful for you guys trying to figure out the game plan from there.
Well, actually, when he got back to the corner, he actually said, "Oh, my eyesight's come back." So it was
Oh,
the
good.
opposite. When he got back to the corner, he was actually starting to get the eyesight back.
Did
That's
you
what.
know that he had lost sight in that eye when it happened?
No, no, but we sort of did because he played with his eye, and then he was sort of running a lot, and we was trying to figure out what was going on. And yeah, it wasn't until we got back that we realised, Diego had got. And it wasn't the eye that got cut; it was the actual other eye. So it was his right eye that he couldn't see out of.
Mm. But how impressive is the composure from Alex Volkanovski? It really just shows how well you guys have drilled this game plan, because here he is. He can't really see. And you can tell that Diego Lopez knows something is up, right? Because he's trying to kill that distance, trying to move forward. But even without sight, it's almost like in his muscle memory, right? Like he's able to get out of those dangerous pocket situations with Lopez, and then he's resetting, resetting, resetting. How impressive is
Yeah,
that? Now that we know he couldn't even really, he just saw like a little blob maybe coming at him in that moment.
yeah. Well, look, that was a lot of the game plan was a lot of movement. We know Diego's very reactive, and we were trying to get. And that's when Alex was most successful. He'd draw the shot out of him, and then Alex would counter him, and that's when he got the better, cleaner shots. And like I said, he
Mm.
wore them like. I'm amazed that he stood there, because he copped some big hits.
I think, yeah. And you know what? You guys fought a very good version of Diego Lopez. He looked like he had improved even more since that Brian Ortega fight, and you guys got such a dangerous version of him. What was your feeling like
100%.
when you knew the fight was over and you guys got it done? Because you guys have had some massive wins, like you've beaten, the Max Holloways, all the legends in the featherweight division. But where did that feeling rank for you, where you knew, all right, we got this. We actually won this title back and beat all the records and shut all the naysayers that say we couldn't do it?
Look, we were pretty comfortable that he'd won. Even the second round where he got dropped, Alex had dropped Diego earlier on in the round, and
Mm-hmm.
Alex was probably winning that round. And it was a pretty, like he dropped him pretty good towards the end of the round, and I guess that's what the judges see, and they're going to give him that way.
Mm.
But yeah, I was pretty confident Alex had won, all rounds part of that second round. And
Where does
even
this
then,
one?
it was just that out of 4.5 minutes, Diego got 30 seconds, out of that whole round. So, yeah, and not only that, like the most important thing that we can take away from this is like everybody was writing Alex off, saying he's too old, he's coming
Mm-hmm.
off, the two knockouts, he had all
The
the curses
curse. Did you see
against
the
us.
curse? No
Yeah,
fighter over this age in that weight area under welterweight could ever do it. Win back the
yeah.
title, all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I look there's hundred, but there's a lot of things that work in his favour as well. That we were going through. Like Charles Sonnen had backed Diego. That's always a good sign that we're going to win. I'd love to throw that one in.
Hey, how does this one rank for you compared to all the other big wins you guys have had together? Where does it rank?
um, Look, it was. It was pretty special because everyone was writing Volk off after his losses, and we knew Volk wasn't ready to finish. It was just unfortunate, with the Islam and then the Ilya fight. But everybody, if you know Volk, and you're close to him, that he's a lot better than what he did in those the two losses that he had, and it was just good that he could prove to everyone else in the world that who he is and how good he actually is. He's got to be cemented there as one of the goats of the featherweights now forever.
I think not only that, I think one of the greatest Australian champions, right? I think now
Oh,
it's almost
100%.
it's almost gone above the sport, I feel. And I know like he was wearing those green shorts, almost felt like he was in an Olympic Games in a way, like he's
Yeah.
really kind of one of the great Australian athletes at this point and surpassed the sport, in my opinion. A nice moment with him and his dad as well after that one as they were hugging each other. And it was just really a nice shot taken, I think, by someone from Getty on that one. But I got to ask, in terms of the injuries, he was saying that he wanted to check out to see, if he had any broken bones, any serious injuries. How did you guys pull up? From what it looks like right now, does it look like he primarily came out without anything seriously injured outside of all the stitches that he got in his face?
Look, he might have broke his hand. We've still got to get that X-ray. So he did hurt his hand.
Was that early in the fight, do you know, or was that later on? Or
yeah, it was earlier in the fight, I think. Alex didn't say anything towards. It was just at the end. He was just saying, "Look, I think I busted my hand." I can't remember which round. He's got a bit of a sore foot, and just the bumps and bruises after having a war. 5-round war with a warrior.
Absolute war, man. Absolute war, and a classic title fight there. Hey, I got to ask as well, this card, it had all sorts of crazy narratives on it. One of them was this Yair Pitbull fight, right? You and me spoke about it, Pitbull coming to the UFC. That could have been a big fight for Alex if he had won, but Yair, man, came out, looked great physically. He kind of looked a little bit differently as well. Like, this is probably the best we've seen him look physically. I know you probably were in the back working with Volko, but what do you make of Yair being able to beat Pitbull here, and seemingly start to work towards another run towards you guys in the title, maybe with another win or two?
Yeah, and you're right. Yair looks like he's been lifting a bit of weights. His physique's changed a bit. He looks a lot stronger. Great effort. He was always one step ahead of the Pitbull. Pitbull just couldn't. Yeah, he was always one step behind. Yeah, he was good. He was in our change room. We've sort of become good friends with him. Over time, he's a great guy, great fighter. Props to him.
You know what? Him and Diego Lopez had a little bit of a run in at the press conference. It was funny because Alex Volkanovski is just sitting there in between them, like, "Okay, guys, let's relax." But I was gonna say, I think that's still a great fight, him and Lopez for Mexico. Don't you think
100%.
that's a fantastic way for Yair to prove, I'm going to come in here, maybe like earn another win, work towards Volko. And then for Lopez, he's coming off this loss, but he still showed so much heart. I don't think he lost that much. But fighting like someone like Yair in Mexico, a perfect place to do it. It just seems like the perfect fight for those guys next.
Well, it does. It blew me out because, like I said, I've known Diego for a while as well. He's a terrific guy, and they're both like him and Yair, both really. I can't say a bad word about them. Very respectful, top guys, and to see them both getting at each other, wow, I've seen another side of them.
When they got at it as well, it just that they started speaking so quickly at each other. I was like, whoa, I had no idea these guys had this gear in them. It was insane. Hey, let me ask you as well, in your division, it seems like there's a new contender being built, born in Gian Silva. He's obviously still a few wins away from making his way to you guys. But what do you make of the fact that he was able to go out there and submit Bryce Mitchell? He beat him in his own strength, right? Everybody thought Gian Silva was going to knock Bryce Mitchell out. He went out there and submitted him.
Yeah, props to him. It was a great effort. And I thought Bryce would have submitted him, but you're right.
Yeah.
For him to submit him, I still got to admit, the Bryce Mitchell one-liners, they just stole the press. I actually became a fan of his after that show. Just his one-liners just blew me away.
Yeah, I think
I actually replayed it like 3 or 4 times because it was just so funny the way he done it.
Oh, man. And I mean, after the fight, he said, look, I'm going to go back. I need to improve. So it's good to see that he's got some good self-reflection there. And it's true, man. Gian Silva, he's barking like a dog. He's crawling around. It's good to have a fun person like him in the division for you guys, right? Because it's always good to have entertaining fighters to potentially fight down the line,
Well, look, he's probably like you said, he's definitely going to be, a contender in the future. He's, like you said, he's probably, 2 or 3 fights away before we see him up there. But he's on a good run, and he is a character, very respectful guy too. I think there's something missing upstairs, but that's him.
That's what makes him special, I think, right, Joe? That's what we love about the guy. And there's so many fun fights now in that division because potentially maybe what you do is, maybe you make Pitbull Brian Ortega, or maybe you get Gian Silva a big fight, maybe give him Ortega. I don't know, but there's some big stars at least they're trying to build. The next fight, of course, that everyone's talking about for you guys is Movsar. What do you think, man? Are you excited about the potential of him being next? There are some fans out there that say, look, it's maybe not the most exciting fight, but he's done so much in the division. He kind of deserves his crack. at the
Yeah,
belt?
well, yeah, realistically, he does deserve it, but there was no talk of him at all at the presser. There was no real talk of him at all. Everyone was talking about Yair and everybody else except him, and
Mm,
yeah, it's sort of a bit sad that I guess he's not a very I guess exciting, and he doesn't bring much to the table, but he's
mm,
unbeaten and he's on a run. If anyone deserves a shot, it's actually him, But
mm.
it's up to the powers that be. We were supposed to get that shot with Ilya, and they gave it to Max. So you just never know how or what the powers above us are going to tell us, and who we've got to fight.
Mm. Let me ask you this. If you guys did fight him next, how do you see him matching? How do you guys see yourself matching up with him? Obviously, Volk, incredible grappler, very clever when it comes to the control on the ground. And, Movsar, he's able to kind of drag a lot of people through these rounds and sort of get this win out of them. How do you sort of see that fight going, in your
Um,
opinion?
oh, look, I think, he is a good wrestler, but he's not what would you call him? He's good at getting people down, but he doesn't really do much with it once he gets them down, and that's what I
Mm,
guess makes him boring and not so. He just hangs on to them, and I don't think he's going to be able to hang on to Volk. Volk's just so strong, and his scrambling skills and his jiu-jitsu and wrestling are another level, and Volks just picks things up. If you look at the beginning of the camp, we break things down and we see what each person's really good at. So we got Diego. Diego's got a pretty good guard. The way he switches from arm bars to triangles to
hmm
sweeps. He's very good at. He's got like a really good repertoire there. And at the beginning, with the guys that we had, Volk was getting stuck in there. By the end of the camp, Volk was not having any problems at all in those positions, and
hmm
I think that's what Diego felt when Alex took him down, that, it's not a place he wants to be with Alex on top of him, because like I said, Alex's pressure when he's on top, he feels like a heavyweight on top of you, and then he just doesn't hang on to you. He's just looking to, land some bombs or an elbow or something on you. So you don't want to be on the bottom when Alex is on top.
All right, guys, I just want to take a quick moment to talk about our sponsors, Manscaped and SAILY, and a big thank you to them for making it possible for me to bring this show to you. The Beard and Balls bundle from Manscaped is the place to go. It's your all-in-one grooming solution to keep you polished from head to toe, more precisely from beard to balls. It's got all-in-one grooming. The Beard Hedger is your go-to for precise beard trimming, and the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra takes care of everything below the waist. Because confidence starts with the right tools. You got customizable trimming, a dual blade system on the Lawnmower 5.0, which features interchangeable foil and trimmer blades, ensuring a smooth and comfortable experience, even in the sensitive areas. And what about this? The long-lasting power. Enjoy up to 60 minutes of runtime with a Beard Hedger and 75 minutes with a Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. And by the way, it is risk-free. That's right, guys. Manscaped is now risk-free. Get it on Manscaped's 30-day money-back guarantee. You can try the Beard and Balls bundle today, completely risk-free, with Manscaped's 30-day money-back guarantee. And that's not all. If you want to support this program, use the code word submission. You get 20% off and free shipping right now. That's 20% off and free shipping right now across the whole Manscaped website. I just want to thank Manscaped again for making it possible for me to bring this interview to you. Go to manscaped.com right now, get the Beard and Balls bundle, and get 20% off and free shipping right now with the code word submission. And for anybody looking to travel out there is no better eSIM than SAILY. SAILY has you sorted with its 115 virtual locations, super fast speeds, security features, and what about the fact that you guys get an ad blocker in the app as well, so you don't have to watch annoying ads and use up your data when you watch stuff all over your phone. What about the fact that you don't need to switch out your eSIMs because you can just use the one SAILY profile for everywhere you go? No more lining up at airports, no more having to take out SIM cards from your phone, putting new SIM cards in. SAILY gives you all of the options to get as much data for as long as you need. You got weekly plans, you got plans that last half a year. And SAILY always lets you know when you're about to run out of data. It gives you a little notification when you used up 80% of your plan, so you'll always have time to top up. No more sneaky roaming fees. No more being stressed out about, oh, I just bought this plan in this weird country that's going to last me for 3 months, but I only need it for 3 days. SAILY has you sorted. And if you're a Submission Radio fan, you can click on saily.com/submission now and get 15% off your first purchase. Or go to saily.com and use the code word submission. Support this show and have the best traveling experience thanks to SAILY. It's a quick reminder while you're watching this interview, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel. Only 48% of you guys are subscribed. The ones that watch regularly, that really, really helps. And please click the little bell icon so you get notified when the shows come out. That's going to really help me bring out more content to you, more interviews, and keep the channel around for longer. And now, back to the program. Yeah, we saw that from Lopez early in the fight, right? He was like,
Yeah.
I'm not going back. He's like, I don't know. I don't care what happens, what he hits me with, but I'm not going back down into that position no matter what happens. And this is a guy who, you know, like you said, is dangerous on the ground. You'd think would want to try and work for something. He's like, nah, I'm cool there, man.
No, man. We were all laughing about it. We said he channeled his Jose Aldo hips, man, because we just couldn't get close to his hips again, man. He just didn't want to go there.
Oh, man, that's so good. Hey, just quickly before I let you go as well, an exciting addition to your division is Aaron Pico. He was actually supposed to fight Movsar, but apparently that fight really actually didn't come together. But this is another young guy that with a couple of wins could potentially make his way down to you guys. That's pretty cool, right? Like 145, having all these names. What do you reckon of Pico coming to the UFC and joining your division?
Oh, he's great. You know, he talks well. I haven't seen, to be honest, I haven't seen much of his, you know, his fights, but you know, I've seen his interview and everything else. Yeah, it's always great. Like I said to you before, it was good to have. You know, I was, you know, going for Yair because, like I said, he's a friend of mine, and but you know, it would have been interesting that if the Pitbull would have won, you know, because that he probably would have got the shot, you know, but yeah. That didn't happen.
Yeah, it's tough out there, man, with all those fights. And obviously, Movsar was likely next. But hey, man, I know like Volkanovski said, you know, get a couple of wins, get this rematch with Ilya. Things are looking good, huh? We're on our road back to this Ilya rematch. And I think, did you see how everyone is now saying, hey, we want to see this rematch. We want to see this rematch. Like, this is kind of the fight we want to now see with Ilya after that performance from Volk yesterday.
Yeah, well, look, it's not up to us. It's up to Ilya and the UFC. I'm sure the UFC would love to have that fight because that would have a lot of eyes on it, especially after Volk's performance on the weekend. You know, and I know for a fact Volk really wants that back. You know, yeah, it's that pride thing. You know, you think you really had it and you lost it. You want that one back. You know, and I know Volk really wants that one back. You know. But again, that's up to Ilya and the powers that be.
It's interesting for him, right? Because he's gone up to 155, and it's like the most gridlocked division of all time.
Yeah.
Like, you just have so many guys. And then Paddy Pimblett, right, on the same card as you guys, somehow became like, he was like Thailand Paddy Pimblett, right? He was just there, just moving forward, copping shots, and looked like $1 million. The best he's ever looked by far, right? It was unbelievable.
Oh, man. Look, I felt for Chandler, you know, when he was on the bottom and Paddy's putting bombs on him and his face is just covered in blood. I'm going, man, he's just looking for a way out, you know. Yeah, it wasn't, it didn't look good for him, you know.
God,
and,
man.
All credit to Paddy. You know, Paddy put on a great performance. Yeah, it was good.
All right, Joe. Well, listen, you guys have absolutely crushed it. That's one belt now coming back to Australia. One more belt to go, right? We're building towards Bilal JDM. I got to ask as well, are you going to be heading down for that one? Will you be in the corner for Jack for that one? Or will you be there watching it live or coming down?
Probably. Look, I've got a lot of things on now with the new gym and everything else.
New gym, yes.
Yeah, I'll be pretty busy, you know, with the renovations and the build. But you know, I'd love to be there for Jack. You know, not only is he a terrific fighter, but he's a champion of a bloke, and you know, Ben Vickers is doing a great job with him. I know Craig's flying over there next week to help him with all the stuff.
Cool.
So look, let's see how it goes. But look, at the moment, like I said, I'm just too busy. I've got to get this gym up and happening. You know, that's right. And I've got also, young Seb's on, he's on the road to Hex, road to UFC. God,
Yeah.
I stuck that one up. So he'll be, I think it's 6-7 weeks away. So he'll be fighting in Shanghai. He's got a hard fight against a Chinese opponent. And then we've got probably Colby as well, and hopefully Jamie gets on. So yeah, we've got a bit on.
Dude, yeah, well, listen, it's a good problem to have. And I love Joe Lopez is like, you know what? I'm just going to do this bit in the new gym myself. We don't need to pay these contractors money. I know how to do the electrical here. Like, I know this isn't that hard. No, but guys, make sure if you missed out on the news, it's so exciting. Freestyle MMA is moving into a new exciting venue. We're all keeping an eye on it, and we can't wait for the grand opening, man. And best of luck with it. And go home and enjoy being home for a little bit. You guys have had an incredible run in Miami, and congratulations again, Joe. What? I reckon that was a historic night last night, a big piece of history for Australian sports.
Oh, 100%, and I don't think people realise, like the mainstream don't realise what Alex has actually done, facing all the odds, everything against him, and he's won it, that he'd have to be up there as one of the best sportsmen of all time, but again, I guess the Prime Minister gave him a shout out, so hopefully maybe he gets a...
I know. Well, how crazy is that? You were in the sport when it was illegal and you had to fight in rings and you had to try and figure out your way to do it. And now you got the Prime Minister giving you guys a shout out before the fight.
It's happened to me. I had a show booked at Wollongong University and the Chancellor cancelled it a week before my show because he thought it was human cockfighting and it was... and I had this massive argument with him, telling me it's a regulated sport. It's governed and no, he didn't want to have a bar of it, and look at it now.
Unbelievable, man. Congratulations again, Joe. Have a safe flight home, and I can't wait to catch up with you next. Big things happening. Freestyle MMA, Joe Lopez, Alex Volkanovski, and the boys. Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate your time.
Okay, thanks for having me on.
Get some sleep. See you, my friend. Take care.
Thank you.